Class there. I believe it was Monday through Friday, and they had about 7 to 9 groups a day. Now, don't quote me for what I say without seeing the emails first. So here's where I started to realize that things were going very, very weird. Now, they have a lot of houses in Stillwater, Minnesota. They're a well-established company. AKA with one of their guys who works there named Chris Middleton. He literally said they're on a video live conference on my outpatient class. Because I went there in person, and in my last few months, I went there virtually. So everything virtually, it left a digital footprint. And a whole person who is a part of the administration of that company said that we run Reflections LLC as a mom and pop treatment center, and we follow New Way. Now I'm like, okay, if you guys follow New Way, are you guys talking about the New Way that's a few blocks away on University and Snelling? He's like, yes. What happened a few months later? The New Way in St. Paul shut down, and they were ordered to pay $18.5 million for kickbacks. So the reason why I had an issue was I was in a very, very rough stage in my life. I was denied a lot of work, but I wasn't even focused on work at the moment. I just wanted to get sober, get some rest, and sleep. You know what I mean? So I was at the sober home, and I ain't gonna lie, for a month or two, I was resting. Because you don't know what it's like to get off of drugs and alcohol addiction and get right back to your normal mind. So I let God do his work. As I was resting, I began to see that the treatment center that I was going to was committing fraud. How? I'm going to let you guys know right now, from a client's perspective. So when I was going there, I remember my first day there, man. It was pretty weird. I just showed up there, and it's like every time you go to a new treatment center and you just feel like the energy. You're like, okay, this is super draining. They're just talking about guilty stuff, you know what I mean? They're talking about stuff that bring you down. But I realized that in order for me to fully heal, I have to spend the next 2-3 months working on myself, building my self-confidence so nobody's words or slander can bring me down, right? So I was like, okay, huge uphill battle. Let's go. So at the time, my sober home costed about, I believe, $700, right? 650, yeah. It cost about $650. And Reflections, the insurance would give them money, and they would pay a stipend of $600 or $650, I believe, to, don't quote me on that, for our room and board. So my living was already paid for, but on that side of the agreement, my living was paid for. But the side that I signed and wanted to do was to show up to class. You know what I mean? So I'm showing up to class in order to make sure that my living's paid for, and to learn something new, and to gain information, and to, work on myself. So the benefits for me are endless. The benefits for them are optimal. So we're working with each other. You could say that business and me partnered. As I'm attending treatment there, they had a very weird class schedule. So we would get off around, don't quote me on this because I don't have the exact time, but we'd get off around I believe 12 to 12:30 or 11:55, I believe. They said that we would get in around, I believe, 8. But when I get all my emails with all the documents and stuff, I can show you guys, you know what I mean? But right now, I'm letting you guys know exactly from what I remember. So don't quote me on it. So we'd get in from about 8 to 11:55, around that time. Go to 4 hours a day, 4 to 5 hours. Now, in that 4 to 5 hour block, right, you know what they say, how many classes there are? They told us that there were about 7 to 9 classes. There were no set class schedules at all. You know what I mean? On top of there being no set class schedules at all, I'm like, okay, cool. I had a friend of mine. I won't say his name at all, but this friend of mine would rarely show up to class. And when the end of the month would come, their bill would be fully paid for. So they wouldn't have to pay no out-of-pocket money to the sober home. When I would show up, guess what? I would always have a balance to pay, whether it's $50, whether it's $100. And there was no way for me to say, hey, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean I wasn't here for that class? What time did you have that class? What time did you guys say I stepped into that class? Who was the instructor at that class time? What time was it? Okay, can I submit my documents, the times that I went in there, the times that I wrote when the provider actually sat down and began class, the times that the break was over, the times where we missed break? I'm like, wait, hold up, wait a minute. Y'all are robbing me. But not just me. Okay, you have a really big treatment center. A big treatment center. The place I was at, few people. But you guys have operations in Stillwater. You guys have operations all over the, like on that side. So why would you guys treat me unfairly and make someone going through drug and alcohol addiction have to stress not only about what they're already dealing with, but now I have to pay excessive amounts out of pocket and putting my last dollars onto something that doesn't make sense. So I wasn't mad. I was just like, hey, show me the proof. And this is where people start to become complete narcissists. Now, I won't blame Deb Chmielewski at first, you know what I mean? And I don't even blame her at all. The emails speak for itself because it's directly from her personal email and her administration's personal email and her counselor's personal emails directly to mine, sent over to the state ombudsman of St. Paul, Edward Marniot, and Lisa, the OMDD, and all of them, right? So they can see exactly how they're replying to me when I'm speaking cool, calm, copacetic, and respectful. So I'm not tearing them down. I'm just letting them know, hey, I'm a client, I'm being assertive, and I'm honestly trying to get to the solution. But before we even get to solution, they cut me off. Narcissistic tactics. Why would you even run a business to help people if you are already going to be narcissistic when any issue is brought to your attention? Not to harm you, but to further your business. Because the things that I'm saying, they're valid on a small level, right? It's pretty valid. It's billing fraud. It's it's so much fraud going on. Allegedly in your eyes, since you don't believe me, right? But as I'm showing you what's going on, that's straight taxpayer money going out of the window. And let's say that taxpayer money gets out of the window. So you're telling me I'm showing up, but another person isn't showing up. And they're showing me what they're being rewarded for not showing up. And so that means the counselors directly has a say in what is going on. What is going on here? My counselor, her name was Christy Beach. I'm not saying that, I'm like, her name is Beach, like Beach. First name Christy, Christy. She was my literally causing me stagnancy. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna take a stand real quick. That's when I began running a lot. Like every morning I run 5 miles before I go there. Every afternoon I go run another 5 miles up and down University Avenue. I'm like, if you're gonna try to kick me out, I'm gonna make my presence be known up and down the street, whether you like it or not. So, I began going to the online treatment, right? So I'm stationed out in the sober home and I'm going to online treatment. As I'm going to online treatment, bro, it's like the same thing that's going on is happening. They're saying that I'm not showing up for certain class times. So I made a spreadsheet of class times. I made a legit spreadsheet, times that they clocked for break, the provider that said that they clocked it for break, everything. I made an organized spreadsheet with times, dates, names, and words that they said in order to hold them accountable. So I don't have to spend extra money to a company that is not being honest about their billing.